Hello and welcome to Fantasy Football by Ben. Today, I'll be doing my Week 14 rankings. I'll be doing the quarterbacks 1 through 20, running backs 1 through 25. I hope you enjoy. Be sure to leave a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you. It means a lot. Alright, so first quarterback that I have ranked this week is Patrick Mahomes. They're playing against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have a pretty tough defense, and typically when Patrick Mahomes gets blitzed, that's like the only way you can stop him. But still, he has so many weapons on the outside. I do think that Patrick Mahomes is a must start almost every week. And no different this week. He's thrown 300 plus passing yards for 5 straight weeks. So Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback one for me this week. At number 2, I have Aaron Rodgers at the Lions. Aaron Rodgers has been so consistent ever since the Bucs game. And so I do think that going forward, he's definitely a QB1 for everybody, and he's got great matchups the next couple weeks, and this week he's got a great matchup, a really good matchup for him, and I do think this could be a really good game for Aaron Rodgers. At number 3 this week, I have a guy coming out of a pack of Badgers, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's going up against the Jets this week. Jets are not very good against the pass. In the last couple weeks, they've given up a lot of fantasy points to quarterbacks, and so I do think this could be a really big week for Russell Wilson. Even though he's had a couple down weeks, like last week he didn't play super well, and the week before that he didn't play very well, I think this could be a really good week for Russell Wilson. At number 4, I have Ryan Tannehill at Jaguars. Jaguars have a horrible pass defense against quarterbacks, and Ryan Tannehill the last 2 weeks has looked pretty good, and those are against the Colts and the Browns. The Browns' defense isn't great, but still Myles Garrett gets to quarterbacks, and I think that Ryan Tannehill just looked good last week, and I think he could look really, really good this week again. I'm at number 4. At number 5, I have Justin Herbert versus the Falcons. Falcons are the worst pass defense against quarterbacks, and so I do think that this could be a really big week for Justin Herbert. Personally, I think Justin Herbert could be further up, but I have him right now at 5, and I'm fine with that. It's a great matchup for him. I have Herbert at 5. At number 6, I have Lamar Jackson at Browns. Lamar Jackson last night looked really good. And so, Lamar Jackson looks really good. So I do think that this could be a really good week for Lamar Jackson. We watched Ryan Tannehill have a good game against the Browns, so I do think that Lamar Jackson could do it as well. At number 7 this week, I have Kyler Murray. He's going up against the Giants. Giants, as a defense in a whole, has not been very good. They have been... they've been really good the last couple weeks, and I think this could be a tough matchup for Kyler Murray. I don't know how his shoulder's doing. He hasn't played really well the last 2 games. He hasn't ran for a touchdown, which is what he typically does, and so that's been hurting his fantasy numbers, fantasy production. So I do think if he runs for a touchdown, Kyler Murray definitely could be higher this week, but as of right now, Giants defense is pretty tough, and Bradbury's going to be covering his best wide receiver, so I think this could be a really tough game for Kyler Murray. At number 8, I have Deshaun Watson at Bears. Deshaun Watson's been pretty good this year. The last couple weeks, he's been pretty solid. And, last week, Deshaun Watson looked really good. And so, I thought he was going to look not very good because Will Fuller was gone, but that wasn't the case. Deshaun Watson looked really good. And so, I do think that going forward, Deshaun Watson is still a top 10 quarterback. I was thinking about lowering him, obviously, because the Bears are a pretty tough defense, but I think Deshaun Watson can do it. I think he's going to have a big week. I have Deshaun Watson at 8. At number 9, I have Josh Allen versus the Steelers. Steelers are really good against quarterbacks, one of the top 5 defenses against quarterbacks. And, Josh Allen's different, though. But, it's still going to be a tough matchup for Josh Allen. So I do think that this could be a really good game for Josh Allen, where he gets, 2 rushing touchdowns and throws for 2 touchdowns. Or it's going to be, throws for 300 yards and then 2 touchdowns and a pick or something, which it's fine. I think it's not a horrible game, and the Steelers defense might not even allow that, so we don't know. I think this could be a good week for Josh Allen, though, so I have him at number 9 this week. At number 10, I have Ben Roethlisberger at Bills. Ben Roethlisberger has been really good the last couple weeks, and in my bold prediction video, if you haven't watched that, go watch it. I said that Ben Roethlisberger's last 5 games has thrown 41, 46, 46, 51, and 53 passes. So I do think that against the Bills, which it could be a shootout. I think Ben Roethlisberger's going to be throwing the ball a lot this week. And so I have him at number 10 this week. At number 11, I have Tom Brady versus the Vikings. Vikings don't have a very good pass defense, and so and also this could be a really high-scoring game realistically. And so I think this could be a really good game for Tom Brady. I have him at number 11. I like his weapons on the outside as well, and so I do think this could be a really good game for Tom Brady. At number 12, I have Taysom Hill versus the Eagles. I mean, last week Aaron Rodgers kind of just tore up that Eagles defense and looked really good, and so I do think that Taysom Hill can do that in a sense, but not like passing wise. I think he could put them on their heels though by running the ball or even just throwing unexpected pass, because he doesn't really throw the ball a whole lot when he's the quarterback. And so, I mean, the Eagles have a pretty tough defense, so this could be a tough game for Taysom Hill, but the rushing touchdown upside is really high for him, so I have Taysom Hill at 12 this week. At number 13, I have Matt Ryan at Chargers. Matt Ryan's been pretty good this year. Chargers don't have a great pass defense, and so I do think that this could be a good game for Matt Ryan. And I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game because Chargers defense isn't amazing. Falcons defense isn't amazing. So I do think that this could be a really high-scoring game. I have Matt Ryan at 13. At number 14, I have Mitch Trubisky versus the Texans. Texans have a horrible pass defense, so I do think this could be a really, really good game for Mitchell Trubisky. And, I mean, I probably would say that he could be moved up, but I like the players ahead of him. I like their matchups a little bit more. And so I do think that Mitchell Trubisky at number 14 is a pretty solid play this week. At number 15 this week, I have Matthew Stafford, who's going up against the Packers. This could be a tough game for Matthew Stafford, but if Kenny Galladay's back, I think this could be a good week for Matthew Stafford. And, I mean, Matthew Stafford in his past has done really well against Packers, so I do think that this could be a good game for Matthew Stafford. Just the problem is going to be if Kenny Galladay and DeAndre Swift play, because I do think that they are a big factor into that offense, and I think that could really help Matthew Stafford out this week. At number 16, I have Philip Rivers at Raiders. Raiders are not a very good pass defense. Philip Rivers has looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, and I do think this could be a high-scoring game, and I think the Colts might probably win because they have a better defense, but I think this could be a pretty high-scoring game, and I think Philip Rivers could be a part of that. At number 17, I have Teddy Bridgewater versus the Broncos. I mean, last week, Teddy Bridgewater didn't play because they had a bye. And DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel both have COVID, or apparently. I don't know if that's actually true or not. But, so this could be Teddy Bridgewater without his two receivers. And so I think that could be a problem, obviously. But if they both play, I think that Teddy Bridgewater is definitely a top 20 quarterback. And even against the Broncos, who I think are pretty tough. And so, and he's always got Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield, so I do think that's going to help him a lot. I have Teddy Bridgewater 17 this week. At number 18, I have Derek Carr versus the Colts. Like I was saying with Philip Rivers, I think this could be a shootout, potentially. And so, as of right now, I have Derek Carr at 18. I think he's for sure a top 20 quarterback this week, but still the Colts defense is pretty tough. So, I think 18 is as far as I'm going to keep him. And so, right now I have Derek Carr at 18. At number 19, I have Kirk Cousins at Buccaneers. I do think this is going to be a tough game for Kirk Cousins, but you never know. I mean, obviously, like he could have like a big throw or something to happen, and he could have a big day. So I do think Kirk Cousins is definitely a top 20 quarterback this week, and he's been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks, so I do think that this could be a big game for Kirk Cousins. At number 20, I have Jalen Hurts versus the Saints. Saints defense has been really, really good the last couple of weeks. Really good. Only allowing like 5 total touchdowns the last 5 weeks. And so I do think that this is going to hurt Jalen Hurts, but it could still be a big week for Jalen Hurts. I have him at number 20. I think that his rushing upside could be a really big factor into how well he does this week. And so if he's the starter for sure, which I think they said that he's going to be the starter this week, I think that the Jalen Hurts could have a big week this week against the Saints. All right, now we're going to get into the running back rankings for week 14. All right, so my first running back that I'll be talking about is Derrick Henry versus the Jaguars. Jaguars have been horrible against the run this year, and Derrick Henry has been a beast. I mean, last week he didn't look great, obviously, but if you have Derrick Henry, that was just one dud week. I mean, I think Derrick Henry is for sure going to have a really big week this week against the Jaguars. I think this could be a really, really good game for Derrick Henry. And his next couple weeks are just really nice for him. So, especially for running the ball, really great games for Derrick Henry going forward. Derrick Henry is definitely my number one running back for the next 3 weeks. Number 2, I have Christian McCaffrey versus the Broncos. Okay, so maybe Derrick Henry won't be my running back one for the rest of the season or rest of the weeks because Christian McCaffrey might have an easier matchup. I don't know. Anyways, Christian McCaffrey is going up against the Broncos. I do think this is going to be they're pretty tough run defense, the Broncos are, but I think Christian McCaffrey is definitely just like a top back. You just don't sit. I think this could be a really, really good week for Christian McCaffrey. At number 3 this week, I have Aaron Jones at Lions. Lions have a really bad run defense, and they've given up a lot of fantasy points to running backs the last couple weeks, and so I think this could be a really, really big week for Aaron Jones. And he's coming off a game where he just ran for over 120 yards and a touchdown. And so I do think that this could be a really good game for Aaron Jones. I have him at number 3. At number 4, I have James Robinson versus Titans. Titans have a horrible run defense, and I think James Robinson, with how they've been using him, is definitely a running back one. And so I do think that this could be a really, really good week for James Robinson against Titans defense. That's not very great, and he's kind of been their whole offense. So I do think that this is going to be a really good week for James Robinson, and I have at number 4. At number 5, I have Austin Ekeler versus the Falcons. Falcons have a really tough run defense, but they're not very good against pass catching backs, and so that's what Austin Ekeler is. And so I do think that Austin Ekeler is going to have a really big week this week against the Falcons. I have him at number 5. At number 6, I have Dalvin Cook at Buccaneers. Buccaneers are pretty tough run defense, and they might be the best in the league, one of the best, and so they're for sure one of the best. But this could be a really tough game for Dalvin Cook, but Dalvin Cook's a running back one, even against a tough matchup, and so I do think that there's pretty much no way you're going to sit Dalvin Cook rest of season or rest of the year, even if he has really tough matchups the next 3 weeks. I do think that Dalvin Cook is still a running back one for all those weeks. And so I have Dalvin Cook at 6 this week. At number 7 this week, I have Nick Chubb versus the versus the Ravens. Sorry. Nick Chubb, the first time he played the Ravens, didn't have a very good game, and so I do think that this is going to be a tough game for Nick Chubb. And so, I ranked him down a little bit further than what I've been ranking in the last couple weeks, but I'd still do think that Nick Chubb could have a big week. And, the Ravens last night didn't look great against the run, so I do think that Nick Chubb could have a big day against the Ravens, but it's fairly unlikely because the Ravens defense is pretty solid. So, at number 8, I have David Montgomery versus the Texans. David Montgomery the last 2 weeks has versed against Packers, Lions. 2 really bad run defenses. And, David Montgomery looked good both games. So, David Montgomery, I think, could have a really big week. Texans are one of the worst run defenses as well, so I do think that this could be a really big week for David Montgomery. I have a number 8 this week. At number 9, I have Ezekiel Elliott at Bengals. Bengals are a horrible run defense, and Ezekiel Elliott did look pretty good against the Ravens. And so I do think that this could be a really good game for Ezekiel Elliott. I have him at number 9 this week. I think that just how Andy Dalton's been playing and how well they use Ezekiel Elliott, I think that he could have a pretty good game against the Bengals. At number 10, I have Alvin Kamara at Eagles. Eagles, like I was saying with Taysom Hill, is they have a pretty good defense, and so I think that this could be a really tough game for Alvin Kamara. Obviously, if he breaks loose for a really big game, then it's a really good week for Alvin Kamara, but I do think this is going to be a tougher matchup for Alvin Kamara, but he's still running back one, and you don't sit him. At number 11, I have Chris Carson versus the Jets. I do think the Jets' defense is horrible, but I didn't know where to rank Chris Carson this week, and so I ranked him at 11. He definitely could be higher up. Jets' defense is that bad, but I just don't know how they're going to utilize him because he only caught 2 passes, but he caught 2 for 45 and a touchdown last week, so I don't know how they're going to use him. I don't know if they're going to throw the ball more to him. Right now I'm at number 11, and I think it's a pretty solid spot for Chris Carson. He's still running back one. At number 12, I have Myles Gaskin versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are horrible against the run, and so I do think that could benefit Myles Gaskin, but I do think that it's really going to hurt because they might be down in this game, and there's a pretty good chance they're going to be down in this game, and so I do think that's going to hurt Myles Gaskin this week. I have him at number 12. At number 13, I have Jonathan Taylor versus the Raiders. Raiders have not been very good against the run this year, giving up a lot of touchdowns rushing, and so I do think that Jonathan Taylor could have a really big week. He had a really good week last week. I mean, he caught a touchdown. I mean, he looked pretty good last week. I like Jonathan Taylor's matchup this week against the Raiders, and I think he's definitely a top 15 back this week. At number 14, I have Ronald Jones versus the Vikings. I think that Ronald Jones has been pretty solid this year when he's played, and he's gotten like 50-50 workload. I think that he's definitely been better at running the ball than Fournette, but at receiving, Fournette is definitely better than Ronald Jones. So I do think that hurts Ronald Jones, but coming off their bye week, I don't know what they're going to do. They're versus against the Vikings, who have not been a very good run defense this year, and so I do think that Ronald Jones could have a pretty big week this week. I have him at number 14. At number 15, I have J.K. Dobbins at Browns. J.K. Dobbins last week looked pretty good, and so I do think that J.K. Dobbins going up against the Browns defense, that's not like amazing against the run, but it's not like bad. But I do think that J.K. Dobbins could have a big week again, and I have a number 15. I think with him and Lamar in the backfield is definitely very deadly. They're both really quick, and so I do think J.K. Dobbins could have a big week this week. At number 16, I have Melvin Gordon at Panthers. Panthers have a horrible run defense, and Melvin Gordon looked pretty good last week. Fairly good. They're going against the Chiefs, and I was saying how earlier how the Chiefs don't have a very good run defense, and so Melvin Gordon did look good, but I think that Melvin Gordon could look better this week, and I have him at number 16. I think he's a probably pretty solid play this week against the Panthers, who are not very good against the run. At number 17, I have Kareem Hunt versus the Ravens. So what I was saying about Nick Chubb was I think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think it's also going to be a tough matchup for Kareem Hunt. They're on the same team. Kareem Hunt catches balls out of the backfield, and so this could be a good game for Kareem Hunt, but realistically, I think it's just a tough game all around. And so I think Kareem Hunt, if they get behind, he could have the bigger day, but as of right now, I think that Nick Chubb's definitely going to be the guy, and so I have Kareem Hunt at 17. At number 18, I have Wayne Gallman versus the Cardinals. Last couple weeks, Wayne Gallman's looked really good, and so I didn't know where to rank him either, so I have him at 18. I think Wayne Gallman's pretty solid, and the Cardinals' defense hasn't been very good, and so I think this could be a pretty good game for Wayne Gallman. I have him at number 18. At number 19, I have Raheem Mostert versus Washington. I didn't know where to rank Raheem Mostert either. He was my bold prediction. If you haven't watched that video, go watch the video. I have Raheem Mostert at 19. In my bold prediction, I think he's gonna have. If you go watch my bold prediction, I think he's gonna have a big week. But Washington's a pretty tough defense, and so I do think that could affect how well Raheem Mostert plays this week. I have him at number 19. At number 20, I have Myles Sanders versus the Saints. As of right now, Myles Sanders has not been playing well the last 2 weeks, and so that's obviously hurting where I'm ranking him. And so right now, I have Myles Sanders at 20. But if he has a big week against the Saints, which, Saints are number 1 against the run right now, and so I think that this is going to be a tough matchup for Myles Sanders no matter what. So I have Myles Sanders at 20 this week. At 21, I have Kenyan Drake at Giants. Kenyan Drake's pretty solid, and the Giants don't have a great run defense, but it's been pretty solid the last couple of weeks, and that's when they've been beating their opponents. So I do think that this could be a tough game for Kenyan Drake, and so I have him at number 21. I think that Kenyan Drake, if Kyler Murray steals his rushing touchdowns, which he hasn't done the last 2 weeks, so I do think that this could be a good week for Kenyan Drake, but it's kind of going to be tough because it's going to be whether or not Kyler Murray rushes for those touchdowns or not. At number 22, I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at Dolphins. Dolphins don't have a great run defense, but it's not bad by any means, and so I think this could be a good game for Clyde Edwards-Helaire if he plays. And so I do think that I have him ranked 22nd right now. If he's fully healthy, I would probably rank him a little bit higher, but as of right now, I don't think he's fully healthy, and so I have him ranked 22nd. At number 23, I have Giovani Bernard versus the Cowboys. We just saw the Ravens just run all over them. Lamar did it. Every Raven in that backfield did it. So, Giovani Bernard, I think he's a pretty solid play this week against the Cowboys, and I have him at number 23 this week. I don't know if Joe Mixon's going to be back or not, and so that's what made me rank him so far down because I do think that the Cowboys' defense isn't very good. And so if Giovani Bernard is like the only back in the backfield, I think that definitely increases his value, and I would probably rank him a little bit higher this week. But right now I have him at number 23. At number 24, I have Cam Akers versus the Patriots. Patriots have not been very good against the run. They were actually pretty good against the run last week, though, and the week before that. But still, I think that Cam Akers is becoming their lead back in that backfield. And so I think that Cam Akers is pretty much a solid start going forward. I have him at number 24 this week. At number 25, I have Nyheim Hines at Raiders. Nyheim Hines at Raiders. And like I was saying with Jonathan Taylor, I do think this is a really good matchup for them. And so having Hines at 25 and Taylor at 13, I think is pretty fair. I mean, I like the matchup for both of them. So if they both get work, which Hines ran for the touchdown last week and Taylor caught the touchdown last week, so I do think that they both could work in that backfield. And so right now I have Hines at 25, and I like that spot. Also, I just want to mention that I would have DeAndre Swift on this list, but he's injured. And also, just wanted to let you guys know that he would definitely be in like the teens, probably, I would say, for me. But if he was playing, I don't know if he's going to play or if he's going to clear concussion protocol, but he'd probably be in the teens for me, just letting you know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new. See you in the next video tomorrow. Peace.